Hello, Adobe Live. How are you out there? My name is Jason Druss. I'm a senior product marketing manager here for Premiere Pro and After Effects. And I am joined by the one and only Francis Crossman, principal product manager for Premiere Pro. How you doing, Francis?
Oh, it's great. Getting ready to go to NAB, be in Vegas for a week, talking with customers. It's a beautiful thing.
It's awesome. I love how we always try to time out our releases in coordination with these major industry events like NAB, where you get to do the product launch, and then a few days later you fly to a location, you have an enormous trade show, you meet with tons of customers, you hear all the feedback, you get all the feature requests, and it's those feature requests at these moments and also just throughout the year that lead to nearly every single featuring workflow that we put into Premiere Pro and After Effects. I just got here very late last night. I got to the hotel at like 12:30 last night. And you can see the Fontainebleau behind me. If you can, you probably can't see it with this view here thing here, but it's there. We're in Vegas, ready to go, and you'll be here very soon, right, Francis?
Pretty much as soon as I get off this live stream, I grab my bags and jump in a cab for the airport. So, yeah, I'll see you there tonight.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Before we dig in to, all the stuff that we're here to talk about, I just want to ask you, what's your personal favorite new feature in 25.2 across Premiere Pro or After Effects?
Oh, me personally. Oh, across Premiere or After Effects. You know what? Okay, so I am a principal product manager on Premiere, but I'm going to call out After Effects for a second here because I've got big love for After Effects. They just released this faster preview system whereby you're no longer limited by the amount of RAM that you have to do previews, and it is fantastic. I've been using After Effects for years and I love it. But since we're here to talk about Premiere, let's talk about Premiere. I would say my favorite feature in the Premiere release is the media intelligence, which uses AI to index all your footage and allow you to search by visuals. So if you've got hours and hours and hours of footage in your project and you need some footage of dogs, you can just search for dogs, and the AI knows what a dog looks like and helps you find all that footage. You could build string outs. It's great. It's also great for finding that shot in a sequence. You're like, okay, I've got this 2 hour long project. Where was that shot of, the man wearing the red shirt? It can help you find stuff like that. So it's great. And it searches transcripts as well. It's a beautiful thing.
I dig how it's not just a system where you're searching for like metadata tags. You're not like car, comma, jacket, comma, sunset, comma. You're like, no, find me a shot of people talking at night at dusk while the sun is setting with a lens flare in the background, and it'll pop up the clip that you need. I love media intelligence and the new search panel. I love Generative Extend. Lets you extend clips with generative AI using our new commercially safe Firefly video model. But I got to be honest with you, my absolute favorite feature in Premiere Pro 25.2 is one of the things that we are here to talk about today, and that is all new color management in Premiere Pro. Yeah, there are lots of videos and websites and streams and all kinds of content about all of the really huge marquee features that came out in Premiere Pro and After Effects 25.2 earlier this week. Today, we're going to be focusing our time talking directly to professional video editors out there, directly within our community, because we want to talk about not only the innovative new AI stuff that we're doing, we want to talk about the end-to-end improvements, the infrastructural improvements that we're doing to make Premiere Pro faster, more performance, and allows you to do your end-to-end workflows significantly easier than you've ever been able to do before. So I'm really excited to dig into color management and a lot of new format support and other new quality of life improvements that we've put out with this release. What do you think, Francis? Should we get started with color management?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Hey, fun fact about color management. My first job when I very first joined the Premiere team was I was a tester on the color team. And I actually started writing the documentation for the very first iteration of color management when I was in the back of a cab in Delhi in India on my way to the Adobe office to go visit the color team. So it's come a long way. That was 5 years ago, something like that. So this update that you're going to show here is really near and dear to my heart, and I'm so happy for everyone to get this new system into their hands.
That's wonderful. I didn't know that part of your origin story. That's very cool. Writing documentation is a great way to like earn your stripes and really like get into product development. And you were also a video editor before you joined Cleverly.
Yes.
You were a professional video editor. You were a
Yeah.
colorist. You did all kinds of.
Hmm.
Tell me a little bit, real quick, so folks, understand our backgrounds before we dig into the demos. Tell me more about your video editing and color journey, real quick.
Oh yeah, sure. So I've been at Adobe for, gosh, going on 8 years now. But before that, I was an editor and colorist in San Francisco for about 10 years. And most recently, I was the head of the video department at the San Francisco Opera. So I was their senior video editor, and I put together all of their feature-length programs for cinematic release, like we play them in movie theaters, and made Blu-rays and DVDs and that kind of thing. I edited those and also did the color grading on them to get them ready for broadcast and release. I also did a lot of like behind the scenes sort of stuff. So, I was the guy in the opera house, with the camera, following the opera singers around and filming interviews and that kind of thing. And yeah, that really taught me a lot about the craft of not only video editing, but video production and, mastering for distribution in terms of making sure everything is broadcast safe and all that. And I really have brought that experience to my role here at Adobe, helping to make the right decisions for video editors. And your background is very much the same, I think. And both of us, I think, have a lot of empathy for the video editors. And we know that sometimes it's the little thing that makes a really big difference. And so some of those things are what we're going to show here today. Tell me about your background, Jason.
Yeah, thanks, Francis. Um, so I've been a colorist for most of my career. I've been a film and video colorist as long as I can remember. I got started in 2009, 2010, sometime around then. And for a long time, I had the only real boutique color and finishing house in Philadelphia. I called it Good Grades. Um, I would convert half of whatever apartment or home I was living in at the time into like a walk-in studio, with all of the calibrated monitors and all of the client services and everything. And I'd also do remote stuff and really leaned on Frame.io for that remote work. But then I became a colorist at NFL Films, where I worked their infamous Sunday game day shift, where it's like this 2 p.m. to 4 a.m. shift where you have 8 colorists and 4 assistants color grading every single clip that comes from every single Arri Alexa camera from every stadium across the country coming into our studio in New Jersey. And we color grade every single frame so that on Monday morning, every broadcaster and streamer would have like that beautiful, gorgeous cinematic NFL Films footage. And then I was a senior colorist at Warner Media, which is now called Warner Brothers Discovery. And I worked on all of the Turner properties. So I would grade long form documentaries for HBO Max and a lot of short form content for Cartoon Network, Bleacher Report, Turner Classic Movies, some trailers for Warner Brothers, and all kinds of stuff like that. And the thing about color management is that when you're a colorist, when you do this full time, like that's our bread and butter. We understand how to take all of the very advanced color science coming from all these bespoke camera manufacturers, and we understand how to get them all on the timeline, how to normalize all of them, either with LUTs or with an internal color management system. And we know how to just make it all shine and look good and pop so we can get to work and make it look great for our clients. And understanding that we're setting up the proper color pipeline based on the needs of the project, based on the needs of the client. We know that we're going to get the absolute best look possible out of the color correction and out of the color grade because we are setting up the underlying pipeline for the color management workflow. But again, I was a colorist, and this was a core responsibility of myself. But many video editors now are end to end. They need to do everything, editing and color and audio and finishing and motion design and graphics and all that jazz. And to be frank, you shouldn't need to be a color scientist to get great looking footage in your timeline in Premiere Pro when you're editing. And for a long time, we've been living in this paradigm of working only within a Rec 709 color space, managing many, many, many transfer LUTs and organizing them and not being sure if this is the right look or not, or if this is the right workflow or pipeline. Essentially, color managing all this footage from all these camera manufacturers, it can be a significant bottleneck right when you import your footage. And the last thing you want to do when you import your footage is spend minutes or sometimes hours going through Tedium and finding the right transfer LUT and making sure everything looks good before you can actually start your creative work. And for years, Premiere Pro customers have been coming to us saying, you folks need to fix this. There needs to be a better way. We want to be able to, either use our own LUTs or use some other system, but not have to worry and not have to do all this guesswork just to make our stuff look good. So we went to the drawing board, and over the past year, we have completely rewritten the entire image and color processing pipeline in Premiere Pro, right? So with Premiere Color Management, before we start sharing the screen and getting to the demo, it's important for folks to know what exactly we did. So what we're doing now is we're supporting significantly more camera formats. We are most of the time automatically. Sometimes you have to trigger it yourself, and we'll go into that. But we are normalizing and transforming log and raw media footage. We're color managing raw media for the first time. We're color managing footage from Apple, from iPhones. If you're shooting an Apple log, Arri, Red, Sony, Canon, Panasonic, Fujifilm, Leica, Nikon, DJI cameras. I'm probably missing a few. We'll go over the full list in a second. But we're color managing all of that stuff for you and normalizing it from log to Rec 709 or to HDR without needing LUTs, which is really wonderful. If you still want to use your own LUTs, you're more than welcome to. This is a very flexible workflow. Advanced video editors need to be able to do anything they need to do, anything they could do in previous versions of Premiere Pro, and we wanted to expand on that. So if you don't want to use LUTs, we will now automatically normalize all of your footage from log. And if you love to use your own LUTs, we will, clearly allow you to bring in your own LUTs. And if you want a specific log in, log out workflow, let's say you're working at a broadcaster or a specific craft post house where you just want log in and log out because you have tons of apps connected to whatever project you're working on, you can disable colors management altogether if you want to, which you couldn't do before, which is great. We're also introducing a completely new wide gamut color pipeline in Premiere Pro. Now, this is when ears start to poke and when we start to get a lot of questions, like what is a wide gamut color pipeline, right? But essentially, you've been taking your log footage, bringing it into Premiere Pro in previous versions. Customers have been applying LUTs, and then color grading in Lumetri. But what we don't realize is that we've actually been working within a Rec 709 working color space the entire time. Right? And what that means is that we're taking all of this log footage in this enormous color space, and we've been doing all the tone mapping into Premiere Pro on the input as soon as you import, and you end up cramming all of this beautiful log color data into this smaller Rec 709 color space. And what that means is it significantly limits the amount of dynamic range and latitude that you have when you're color correcting. We're still on, Francis, by the way? We're good?
Oh yeah, we're good to go.
Okay, great, awesome.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the chat. I was gonna drop a message in there saying, hey, feel free to ask any questions as we get into it.
Nice. Okay, that's great. But yeah, I'll finish this little anecdote and then we're gonna show how it works in a second. But we've been working in a Rec 709 color space, which is actually a very small color space, and then outputting to SDR or HDR, But now with this new wide gamut color pipeline, we allow customers to take all of this log media in these enormous color spaces from all of these different camera manufacturers, put it into Premiere Pro, but now we're actually working within a wide gamut color space. We're using industry standard ASUS CCT as our wide gamut intermediate color space. And what this essentially means is that you take this log data and you're putting it in an even bigger color space container inside of Premiere Pro. What this means is that Premiere Pro is now able to actually utilize and respect and take advantage of all of that glorious log and raw data in your media and use it for color correction. We've made Lumetri and many of our other effects color space aware. So now what you'll notice when you go to one of the wide gamut presets we're going to look at in a second, when you make your color adjustments, you're going to notice an increased level of sensitivity, significantly more dynamic range, and significantly more latitude. Most importantly, it was really important to us that we make this workflow as simple and efficient as possible so that any video editor can use it. Again, you shouldn't need to be a color scientist to get great looking footage in your Premiere Pro timeline as soon as you import your media or shortly after. So what we've done with Premiere Pro 25.2, we have taken the guesswork out of color management. So now you can confidently import all of your log and raw media from multiple cameras, see it looking great, understand the color pipeline that you are working within, and just put it in the back of your mind and forget about it so you can get on with your actual creative editing and color correction. So that's a little bit about the system. And let's go ahead and share screen and kick things off. And again, feel free to ask all of the questions in the chat. Cool. So I'm going to pop Francis down here. Francis, can you see this little Adobe Live thing in the corner right here?
No, it's invisible to us.
Groovy. Okay, that sounds good. Okay, so I have this timeline up here right now. I have a mix of Canon footage, and I also have a red R3D raw clip right here, and I have a Fujifilm clip over to the left. And as you can see, this Canon footage and this red footage is normalized. It's in Rec 709, it's looking great, and I didn't have to do a thing for this to look good. There are no LUTs applied in this timeline whatsoever. This is all Premiere Color Management doing the work because we're able to recognize specific color metadata tags in original camera files, or OCF, from most cameras out there. So we imported this and Premiere said, oh, that's Canon C-Log 2. Let's go ahead and convert it to 709. Oh, this is an R3D clip. So it's in red log 3G10, wide gamut. Let's convert that to Rec 709 for you without you having to do anything, right? So when you surface this and when you figure out what color pipeline do I want for my project, there's a couple really easy ways to do it. First things first, anytime you make a new sequence or when you go into sequence settings, you'll be met with this menu. You go to sequence, sequence settings, and you go to this new color management tab and you'll see, okay, color setup. I have the options of direct Rec 709, HLG or PQ. These are great if you're just working with like baked in Rec 709 footage, or if you're just working with HLG or PQ HDR and you want simple in, simple out pipelines. The real magic happens when you unlock wide gamut. That's what we're going to talk about in just a minute, but you have the choice to choose which color setup and what color pipeline you want. There's this great little tooltip right here that tells you exactly what Premiere Pro is going to do with your footage, how we're going to work, and how we're going to export, or what your program monitor is going to see and what your viewers are going to see. So we're going to stick with the default direct Rec 709 for now for a very important reason. I'm going to click OK. And with that, as you can see, we have the automatic transformation, but the new wide gamut pipelines that we're going to take a look at in a second, it's again like a fundamental rewrite and a fundamental shift in our entire color and image processing pipeline. And we wanted to make sure that every Premiere Pro customer that updates to 25.2 is able to open up their pre-existing projects and their legacy projects and see everything exactly as it's supposed to be, exactly as you're used to seeing it, right? We didn't just want to throw everyone into this wide gamut world. Customers gave us heavy signal that it's really important that Premiere Pro act in a similar way so our pre-existing projects open up identically. It's up to the users to choose to enable these wide gamut workflows we're about to look at. So my Canon and my red are color managed. And if we take a look here, we can see that I have this Fujifilm clip on the left. It is not color managed. It is still in log. This always begs the question, okay, like what camera formats are automatically color managed and which ones aren't? And we'll dig into that right now. So This automatic transform from log or raw to Rec 709 or HDR, it works with most cameras. Typically, a lot of the camera formats, log formats and raw formats from Red and ARRI and Canon, Sony, Panasonic, a lot of these will automatically transform. We have a lot of comprehensive HelpX articles that has a large table with every single camera format that's automatically supported. But again, this automatic transform, it's not going to work with a few select camera formats. It's not going to automatically transform with proxy footage, and it's not going to automatically transform with any log footage that you've bought from an online marketplace for a very important reason. It works with original camera files because original camera files host that metadata color tag that we can read so we can do the transfer. Proxy files, stuff you're buying online from log footage from online marketplaces, and some select camera formats may not have that metadata tag, so we're not able to read it. But rest assured, there's a very simple, efficient solution for this. Anytime you have footage that isn't automatically transformed when you use Premiere Color Management, you can go to clip by clip in your Lumetri settings here, or you can go to your project manager. Whoop, let me reset that. Thank you very much. And I have these two Fujifilm clips right here. So I can just batch select a bunch of clips at the same time. I can right click. I can go to modify color. And then I can choose to use the media color space, which is Rec 709, or I can choose to override the media color space. And this is where I'm saying, oh, hey, here's all the camera formats we have selected. And just double checking, Francis, can you see this drop-down menu right here in the menu that just popped up?
Oh yeah, so many color spaces.
So many color spaces. Again, Apple, ARRI, Canon, Fujifilm, Leica, Nikon, Panasonic, Sony, Red, and of course, all of the industry standard just video formats. So I'm going to choose Fujifilm F-Log 2. And just to show you another way that you can do this before I hit OK, I'll go ahead and cancel that just to show that you can also do this from your Lumetri settings as well. I can see use media color space Rec 709. No, I want to override that media color space and decide this is Fujifilm F-Log 2. And now it's automatically normalized. And again, this is not a LUT, right? This is an actual transformation of your color. And the thing about a LUT, I love LUTs first and foremost. Again, use them for many, many, many years. I know many of you out there watching also love your LUTs. Please continue using them if you love them. At the end of the day, a LUT is like a cube that we put our log footage into. And a cube has walls, and you're really not able to break out of those walls. So oftentimes, if you're color grading with a LUT, you might notice once you get into really detailed shadow or highlight work, things might start to get fuzzy or messy or fall apart, especially if you're using one of those creative LUTs that has a really aggressive look to it. With this non-destructive transform, we are truly able to utilize all of the log footage and get all of that dynamic range and latitude with this color management transformation happening on top, right? Not in a cube necessarily. So
hey,
now I have
Jason, if you don't mind, let me just break in for a second here. There's a conversation happening in the chat around Blackmagic, and just that is a notable exception. We don't automatically recognize Blackmagic. We do still rely on the plugin from Blackmagic for BRAW. You can get that from the Blackmagic website, but also if you import that BRAW footage into Premiere, Premiere will prompt you, hey, you need a plugin to play this back. Here's where you can go get it. And of course, the question is, will we support Blackmagic color spaces at some point? And all I can say right now is that a lot of people are asking for it, and that is a really good way to help us make a decision about what we support. So keep on asking for it.
Yeah, please keep on asking for it. And it's also important to note that we're always working with camera manufacturers, and we're always working with people out there who are, making cameras that shoot log and raw footage. And we're very interested in supporting as many cameras and as many formats as possible. We're working with many folks right now to grow this list to an even larger list of camera manufacturers. So please make your voices heard. shout out in the community forums, give us the feature requests. If you're here at the NAB trade show, write us emails. If you're using beta, send us, you know, send us feedback through the beaker icon on the upper right-hand corner of the screen. We want to hear your voice and we want your voice to be heard. So please tell us what you'd like to see in future versions of Premiere Pro. For now, we have a very comprehensive list of most camera formats out there, and we're really, really excited that we're finally able to provide a true wide gamut modern color pipeline and new color management inside of Premiere Pro. But Francis, do you want to see how it actually works?
Yeah.
All right. So I got this clip right here, right? And again, I'm in the DirectRec 709 preset right now, the default. This is going to give you a color pipeline that is very reminiscent to previous versions of Premiere Pro. It's the default because we want your pre-existing projects to open up identically, right? So I'm going to go over to Lumetri Color right now. I got my scopes on my left. I got my clip right here. I have all my sky detail. I got some good detail right here. And I'm going to go ahead and take my exposure adjustment, and I'm just going to put that down to like -2, right? And the first thing that I notice as a colorist is that all of my scopes are now really, really flat. I lost all of my highlight detail there, and everything just kind of chunky and down to the bottom. I've lost all this highlight detail. And if I look at the clip right here, I can see that everything is just really, really dark. I've lost all the detail in the specular highlights on the bike, on the helmet, on the tail light. I would consider this an unusable color adjustment. So let me reset that. Let's go back to our Lumetri settings. I'm now going to hop into wide gamut. So when I click this wide gamut button right here, which again, you can access very easily in sequence settings, right here, you can choose to go, see now I'm in wide gamut. Now, without seeing any perceptual shift in the image itself, what we just did is we just completely replaced Premiere Pro's image and color processing pipeline to work in wide gamut with more dynamic range and latitude. So let me go back to the edit tab right here of Lumetri. I'm going to make the same exact adjustment. I'm going to take exposure down a couple stops. And what you can see right here off the bat is that, look, these are what my highlights should actually look like. Oh, I'm in HDR scopes right now. Let me go over to 10-bit. There we go. This is what my scope should actually look like. And you can see I have all these specular highlights and all these details in the bike and the helmet, on the taillight, reflecting off of her jacket. This is an actual exposure adjustment that we would expect from such. So if I go back to settings, this is wide gamut. I'm going to flip between Rec 709 here. So this is Premiere Pro's previous color pipeline using DirectRec 709. And when you choose to make new projects using wide gamut, here's the difference with the same color adjustment. This is DirectRec 709, and this is wide gamut. It is a generational shift and a generational upgrade in Premiere Pro's ability to utilize log and raw color data for better dynamic range and latitude when you're color correcting in Premiere Pro, so that you can perfect your skin tones. You can dial in the mood and the tone and the look of your video with way more finesse and way more control than you've ever had before.
And you'll get better results without even having to do more work. In fact, it'll probably take you less time to get a good result.
It will take you less time to get a good result. And one of my favorite things about this, about those good results, is that you can have confidence moving forward with your color management pipeline. And you can have confidence with your color management in general, because this new system, our intention is to take the guesswork out of color management, right? You select your preset, you select what pipeline you want, you just import your footage and you start color correcting or editing or whatever it is that you're here to do. Yeah, that's a good comprehensive overview of color management. Oh, you know what? There's one more thing I would like to vamp on if we have time for it, Francis, and it's about HDR.
Ooh, yeah, let's hear about HDR.
Okay, so full disclosure, I'm not going to pop this timeline into HDR because Francis and I are here streaming on Teams. Teams is not very good at streaming and actually displaying HDR properly. I'm here on a MacBook Pro. I have an Apple XDR Pro display at my home office. Many of us now have HDR enabled, laptops and monitors that we can authentically work in HDR. But if you're in wide gamut, it's extremely easy to take the output color space here, and I could choose to have my 709 output. I can choose to make an HDR version of my timeline. I can choose to start with HDR and then make an SDR version of my timeline. It's really, really easy for Premiere Pro users to now authentically work in HDR. Because here's the thing. If you work in Hollywood, Hollywood figured out advanced HDR a long time ago. You cannot find any movie or TV show on a streaming service that hasn't been fully mastered to its highest level in HDR in the past like 6 or 7 years, right? If you're working in Hollywood, you're working in HDR, and that's awesome, right? If you are directly working off of an iPhone, if you're shooting footage on your iPhone camera and you're posting things directly to social channels like YouTube or Instagram or TikTok, you have HDR figured out also because the camera is shooting HDR, the distribution platforms can automatically upload and display HDR, the phone screens are HDR, everything's HDR end to end. It's everyone here in the middle that makes their content in Premiere Pro. Everyone in the middle has been stuck trying to figure out, how do we make HDR work for us? I want to be able to tell my clients, if I'm making a soda commercial, that we can have those water driplets glistening, the condensation glistening off of the Coke can or off of the soda can at 1,000 nits. I want to be able to tell brighter, more vivid stories with HDR. How do I do it? In Premiere Pro, it's been very complicated to do that. But now with new Premiere Color Management, we're able to say, no, for everyone in the middle, for everyone that's shooting on content, outside of the system where we have the budgets and the people and the engineer and the technological backend to do high-end HDR from end to end, everyone in the middle has now unlocked the capability to completely have autonomy over a real, simple HDR workflow that anyone can use and anyone can understand with an actual modern color pipeline underneath it. So we have the infrastructure, we have the capability, and we made it very simple and easy for you to take advantage of these workflows. And again, the last thing I'll say is if you have questions, throw them in the chat. We'll talk about them here, but also go to HelpX and check out HelpX. We have exhaustive documentation on every single little parameter of Premiere Color Management. So if you're troubleshooting, if you're figuring out the system, if you want to know if your footage is going to automatically transfer, if you're going to have to go to the bins or Lumetri to have that color management metadata tag yourself, it's all there. Yeah, that's it kind of for color
I just
management. Stop sharing my screen now.
I just dropped the link for the HelpX documentation about color management into the chat. There's a few things coming in through there, but the one last thing that I just want to say about color management, the thing that really excites me that not a lot of people really understand is if you are shooting log, like Sony S-Log, Panasonic V-Log, you're actually shooting in HDR. And a lot of people don't know that. And with the new color management system, you can easily transform your log to HDR or to 709. It's a great system. I love it. But I've got some other stuff which, admittedly might not be quite as exciting as the new color management system to show off, but sometimes it's the little things that really get you going as an editor. So I'm going to run through some of the things that didn't get the headlines. So the very first thing is that we've got some new sample media in the project. And so if I go into import mode and look at sample media here, you will notice that we have refreshed it. It's a lot more dynamic, more colorful, more interesting. And you can use this media to practice editing. You can use it, simply to test out new features. This is always available to you. It downloads as part of the install. And so this is the new sample media. Let me just, play through some of it. And, we got pretty tired of the old sample media. And so here's some new stuff, some nice rollerblading or roller skating, I should say. There's just one shot in here that I rather like, which, she does this kind of flip thing. I cannot do that, but that is cool. Okay, so that's the new sample media. But let's move on to some audio improvements. So I'm going to use this same sequence that Jason was showing of the Vespa, scooter project. And actually, you know what? I realize I forgot to share with my sound. So I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to reshare, include my sound, and we're back. Regarding the audio improvements is a pretty simple but fundamental thing. And that is that we now have waveform scaling. And what that means is that as you are adjusting your audio levels, the waveforms actually scale in proportion with your adjustments. So if I play this back, let me just orient you guys here. We've got track 1 is music. Track 2 down here is sound effects, sound effects of the Vespa scooter. And then we've got a couple more tracks of sound effects, and that makes up the whole piece. So I want to kind of focus on the music track here. And you'll notice if I zoom in how the music track is cut. And there are these abrupt adjustments in the volume of the music track. And this is actually a pretty common editorial technique. And let me just play through some of this and hopefully you guys can get a sense. Let me start from the beginning. I really like this piece. We're going to be using this demo footage on the show floor at NAB.
The music is giving me a Drive vibes. Remember that movie?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
And of course, both of us just totally talked over the part that I wanted to point out, which is, let me play this again and just listen to the music, how it dips in volume. Right, and that dip in volume really adds to the change of scene because we're showing this guy sitting up there in this really long shot. You hear a little bit of wind blowing, and just by looking at my timeline, I can very clearly see not only by the the rubber band, but also by the waveforms themselves that this is a different volume. Now, if my intention, let's say, I'm trying to actually fix problems and I'm going through and I'm trying to get all the volume to be kind of the same level, you can also use this waveform scaling to do that. So, I'm not looking at the meters or anything like that. I'm just looking at the shape of the waveform and going through and kind of making everything the same. This is going to make editing audio so much easier. But let me undo that because it's actually supposed to be different. The other thing that you will notice is that it's not just the whole clip. It's actually sections of the clip. So if you're trying to do some volume enveloping, which is, really common, you can see that it adjusts along with the rubber band there. And one more thing, maybe not everyone knows this, but there is a keyboard shortcut. The bracket keys on your keyboard, you can use those to increase or decrease the volume of a clip in 1 dB increments. And so, what you could do is play through your project and then use those keys to actually kind of, nudge the volume up or down in a live manner. And so I'm just using the keyboard, I'm using the bracket keys, and this is a really nice way to kind of do a simple, really quick mix on your audio. The other thing that I want to point out is that in order to get these audio waveforms scaling, we actually had to completely rewrite the way that we're creating audio waveforms. And we got 2 benefits out of that. One, the performance of the timeline is just way better now. So as you're zooming in and out, the waveforms draw really quickly and it just feels smooth and nice. Also, the generation of the waveforms themselves, when we're generating peak files, when you first import your footage, and then, you have to wait for Premiere to generate those peak files, that is also now GPU accelerated. And so that's going to be way, way, way faster. And I just want to open up the old version of Premiere. And the old version of Premiere, I actually altered the appearance on purpose, just so that you can really clearly see that this is a different version of Premiere. This isn't the default look, you know, the default is more dark like that. But okay, this is the old version of Premiere. I have it light on purpose. And if we zoom in, you notice how you get this sort of flickering as the waveforms are redrawing. That's super annoying, and that's not nice to look at when you're doing your editing. So back in this new version of Premiere, let me just sort of get the timeline to look more or less the same. As I zoom in and out, zero flickering, very smooth, very fast, very lovely. So that is the yeah, new audio improvements. And just in case you missed it, you know, this is not new in this release, but several releases ago, we added these dynamic fade handles. And so just in case you missed it, you can now do these fades right on the clip. Very, very nice. So the audio workflow is just getting super nice. The next thing I want to talk about is a super simple fix that we made that we heard a lot of complaints about. And it's sort of specific, but as soon as I show it to you, you'll be like, oh yeah, that thing, that's super annoying. Thanks for fixing that. Okay, so what we did is if you're trying to do like a Ken Burns type adjustment, so like I have these just like pictures of cameras here, and maybe, you know, I'm doing a like camera review YouTube channel kind of thing, and what I want to do is add a little bit of you know, movement to it. So the common thing to do would be to go up into the effects control panel and put a keyframe at the beginning, move the playhead to the end and put a keyframe at the end, and then, you know, zoom it up. And, you know, that's a very, very common, simple thing to do. And you probably didn't notice anything wrong with that. You know, it's pretty basic. Let me show you in the old version what it used to do. And I would love to hear in the chat if anyone has run into this. Okay, so you add your keyframes at the beginning, you move your playhead to the end, and then wait a second, it just selected the next clip in the timeline. What's up with that? And now you're, you know, you're adding your keyframes and you're, you know, trying to adjust, but nothing's happening because it's showing the next clip in the timeline. Super annoying. The reason for that is that when you drag the playhead to the end in the effects control panel, it is in fact dragging it to the end. But if I zoom in here on the timeline, you'll notice that the end is actually the beginning of the next frame. So super annoying. And so everyone who's ever done Ken Burns type stuff in the effects control panel, you know that you have to go to the end and then back up a frame. And then you can see your, you know, your clip. So in the new version, we changed that so that when you go to the end of the effects control panel, it actually parks on the last frame of that clip, not the first frame of the next clip. So really, really simple change. But this is the sort of thing that if you're an editor and you're trying to bang through a project and you're trying to, you know, get it done quickly, like, hey, let's do a sort of a Ken Burns type thing on all of these, you know, rather quickly, that's going to trip you up. And as fast as I'm working right now, which is admittedly just, you know, not that fast, but like, I don't know, kind of fast. I would not have been able to work that fast in the old version. So that's a really nice fix. The next thing comes out of a ton of community requests. And I'm going to see if you guys can guess what I'm showing. You can probably look at my timeline. You can probably look at the name of the sequence. You can probably, you know, look at the name of the clip to guess what I'm showing here. But let me just show you the file in the Finder. And boom, we support MKV again. So this is really nice. And, the reason that folks want the MKV file format, the main reason that we heard is from folks who are recording with OBS, which is a, really great open source recording and sort of like broadcasting type piece of software. And people are recording oftentimes gameplay that they want to, maybe they're doing like a live Twitch stream or something like that, and they want to record it and then add in, maybe they want to make like a highlights reel or something, like the best tricks or whatever. I'm not a gamer, so I don't even have the language. But in OBS Studio, if you're recording in MP4 format, and for whatever reason the stream hiccups or kind of like fails or anything like that, the file is broken. Whereas with MKV, it can be recovered. Like OBS Studio can recover from any kind of like a hiccup in the recording. And so folks know that if they want a really reliable recording from OBS, they should record MKV. But for a long time, Premiere didn't support it. And now we do. So the thing to note about MKV support is that we support H.264 as a codec and AAC audio. So MKV is a really, really complex file format. You can actually put multiple streams of video, multiple streams of audio, captions. It supports all sorts of stuff. But we support a very specific use case, which is one stream of video, one stream of audio, specifically H.264 and AAC. But that is going to meet the needs of the vast majority of folks who are asking for MKV support. So you asked for it, now you have it, MKV support. Next,
Awesome.
couple of things. Yeah, Jason, do you game at all?
Oh, I don't in a previous life, but everyone is recording their streams and everyone's making so much content off of sharing their gameplay. And when you have thousands of people that have this need, just that little thing, and we're able to find the time to provide it and get it in there, it's significant. And I'm even more excited about this Canon Raw Lite bit that you're about to go into.
Yeah. Hey, Thomas was reacting to the keyframing in the ECP, saying it was so annoying. Yes, it totally was. I myself ran into that, so I'm glad we fixed that. Game streaming, let's go. Yes, Ryan, totally. Okay. The next two bits of information that I want to share are regarding some high-end camera formats, and that is Canon Raw Lite, which is recorded by these cameras. Here, I can actually just go full screen on this. They say that you can't use Premiere as a PowerPoint replacement, but I say hold my beer. So it's GPU accelerated. The debayering is GPU accelerated, which gives us 4 times faster playback, 10 times faster exporting, and the Canon Raw Lite format itself supports 16 stops of dynamic range, and it's all in a reduced file size for the exact same quality. So you can get longer record times and just take up less hard drive space. It's supported by really, really common and very favorite cameras like the C200, C300, C500, the R5C, and the C70. I think it may be supported by more than these cameras here, but this is what I found on the Canon website. And by the way, this image is from the Canon website as well. The R5C, by the way, supports 8K internal recording. So that's just a beast of a camera, and being able to record RAW is really, really nice. And so you're going to be able to work with those files in a much smoother way. And just to prove that it works. I have a clip here. This is some Canon raw light footage. This is Fergus's dog. Fergus is the product manager for the formats team. So that is his dog, and it's Canon raw light playing back here. And just to show you, there are source settings that you can get to for raw formats. So if you go up into the effects control panel and go to the source tab, we can see here that we've got settings for color temperature, tint, exposure, and the color space settings. By the way, this is being automatically color managed by the system that Jason was showing off. So the fact that, the raw importer is indicating to Premiere that, hey, I am Canon log 2. The Premiere system picks it up from there and then does the transformation to the timeline color space. Really nice. But if you need to change any of this stuff, you totally can. Like if I want to, kind of correct the color temperature of this, I can dial it back a little bit and sort of, cool it off. But I like this warm tone. Let's stick with that. The other thing I wanted, yeah, go ahead, Jason.
Oh, I have a really important question for you. This is Fergus's. Is this Fergus's kitchen right here?
I think so.
I love Fergus's kitchen. It's excellent.
Yeah.
Jealous. That was all.
Yeah. So this is the type of footage that we on the team often use for testing. We have a deep relationship with all of the camera companies, including Canon, and we do get cameras from them to test with. But sometimes our footage is not as interesting as a home movie dog. Oftentimes it's literally just this.
Yeah.
So, no shortage of fun and games on the Premiere Pro team here. This is just a little peek behind the scenes. Okay, moving on. Next up, we have Arri Alexa, the Alexa 265 camera, which is a 65 millimeter format sensor. So it records like 6.5K, 15 stops of dynamic range. We updated to the latest Arri SDK, which gives us support for the raw format that this camera records. And, I don't know if anyone here watches movies. I bet you do. But the majority of the movies that typically get nominated for Academy Awards for cinematography are often shot on Arri cameras. The color science is beautiful. The form factor of these cameras is beautiful. The lenses are beautiful. It's just really a choice for top-end productions. And top-end productions are using Premiere to cut their films. Anora just won how many Academy Awards? 5 Academy Awards this year. Yeah, best picture, best editing, best. Mikey Madison won for best actress. Is fantastic, and that was cut in Premiere. I don't know what camera they used, but
I'm not sure. But it was made by Sean Baker and edited in Premiere Pro. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're just about out of time. Actually, we're getting the what do you call it?
The hook.
Cane. We're getting the hook. We're getting the hook. I feel like we could stay on here and talk for hours about all this stuff. Francis, thanks for hanging out this morning. Thanks for everyone who woke up in whatever time zone you're in to hang out with us. Come see us at NAB if you're here. We'll be on the show floor all weekend and into early next week. Keep giving us your feedback. Like all this stuff that we're making, it's from you folks. We love you folks, and thank you for making your content in Premiere. And we will see you soon at NAB.
We'll see you in Vegas.